year is 1572. You are a Protestant, a Huguenot, and a noble in the entourage of your leader, the dashing Henry of Navarre. For a decade, France has been tearing itself apart in the bloody wars of religion. But now there is hope. You have come to the great Catholic capital of Paris for a wedding of the century, meant to heal the nation. Your king, Henry, is to marry Margaret of Valois, the king's sister. The streets are decorated, feasts are planned, and an amnesty has been declared. But the air is thick with tension. The people of Paris loathe you. They are devout, radical Catholics, and they see your presence as a heretical stain on their city. Your only protection is the word of the king and his mother, the most powerful woman in France, Catherine de Medici. She is the architect of this peace, an Italian banker's daughter who has ruled France through her weak sons. She is a master of politics, a believer in compromise, but also a woman who will do anything to protect her family's hold on the throne. This is your first survival test, navigating a city that wants you dead, protected only by a woman no one fully trusts. You are now inside the Louvre Palace. This is not a battlefield of swords. It's a battlefield of whispers, rumors, and glances. Your survival here depends on whom you trust. There are 3 factions. Choose your allies carefully. First, there is your faction, the Protestants, led by the admirable Admiral Gaspard de Coligny. He is a great military leader and a father figure to your king, Henry. He has the ear of the king and is pushing for a new war against Catholic Spain. Second, there is the moderate faction, led by King Charles IX himself and his mother Catherine. They want peace above all, but Catherine is terrified that Coligny's anti-Spain plans will drag France into a war it cannot win. Finally, there is the ultra-Catholic faction, led by the handsome, dangerous, and popular Henry, Duke of Guise. He blames your leader, Admiral Coligny, for his father's assassination years ago. He is looking for revenge, and the people of Paris adore him. Your survival challenge is to enjoy the feasts, avoid the duels, and navigate the web of plots. Catherine's famous flying squadron of beautiful female spies is everywhere, and you are being watched. August 18th, 1572. The wedding takes place. It's a spectacle of forced unity. Since your king, Henry of Navarre, is a Protestant, he is not allowed inside Notre Dame Cathedral for the Catholic Mass. He waits awkwardly outside the doors while his bride, Margaret of Valois, is married to him by proxy. The Catholic populace of Paris watches with thinly veiled disgust, muttering that the sacred cathedral must be cleansed after being in the presence of so many heretics. For the next 4 days, Paris is a city of bizarre, tense celebration. There are lavish balls, tournaments, and extravagant allegorical plays. In one, a mock battle is staged where your Protestant leaders, including your king, are defeated by the king and his Catholic brothers, who then drag them into a paradise to the sound of beautiful music. It's meant to symbolize harmony, but to you, it feels like a humiliating warning. But your true leader, Admiral Gaspard de Coligny, is playing a different game. He is not just a guest. He is winning the king's mind. The young, unstable King Charles IX is captivated by this noble Protestant father figure. They are in private meetings for hours. Coligny is convincing the king to unite France, to end the bitter religious feuds, and to channel that energy into a glorious new war, a war against France's mortal enemy, Catholic Spain. This is Catherine de Medici's worst nightmare. She sees her weak-willed son falling under the spell of a heretic. She sees Coligny dragging her fragile kingdom into a devastating war with the most powerful empire on earth. She sees her own influence, and that of her favorite son, Henry of Anjou, evaporating. Coligny is no longer a guest. He is a threat to her family's control of France. Then, on the morning of August 22nd, it happens. The 4 days of celebration have started to ease the tension. You are beginning to think you might actually make it out of this city alive. Admiral Coligny is returning from a council meeting at the Louvre. He is walking slowly, reading a letter. As he passes a house known to be owned by the Guise family, a single shot explodes from an upstairs window, the sound echoing in the narrow street. The bullet rips through Coligny's left forearm and shatters a finger on his right hand. He stumbles, But with incredible calm, he points to the window from which the shot came. His men, screaming in rage, smash down the door, but it's too late. They find only a smoking arquebus. The assassin has escaped onto a waiting horse, provided by the guy's family. Instantly, the city is a powder keg. The news spreads like fire. You and the other Protestant nobles are electrified with rage. This was an assassination attempt, a craven ambush, a total violation of the king's sacred amnesty. You grab your swords, assemble your retainers, and march as an armed, furious body of nobles directly to the Louvre. You are no longer guests. You are a hostile army. The king himself is in turmoil. He orders the gates of Paris locked and, in a public show of loyalty, visits Coligny's bedside. He weeps, he rages, he promises justice. "My father," he tells the wounded admiral, "the wound is yours, but the pain is mine." But this is not enough. You and your fellow nobles, led by Coligny's fiery son-in-law, openly accuse your great rival, the Duke of Guise, of the attack. You do this in the king's own chambers, and then you make your fatal mistake. You declare, in front of the king and the terrified Catherine de Medici, that if the crown does not deliver justice upon the Guise family immediately, you will take it yourselves. It is a direct threat. You have announced your intention to start a private war, to seek blood revenge in the streets of the capital, in the middle of a royal wedding. You believe you are showing strength. Instead, you have just signed your own death warrant. To Catherine, you are no longer a political faction. You are an uncontrollable armed rebellion threatening to tear the kingdom apart. The trap is about to close. The 36 hours following your public threat are the most critical of your life. You just don't know it yet. You and your fellow Protestant nobles have returned to your lodgings, a cloud of righteous fury hanging over you. You are polishing your swords, holding quiet, angry meetings, and sending messages to your armies in the provinces. You are waiting for the king to deliver justice, but the king is acting, just not in the way you expect. Inside the Louvre, there is pure, unadulterated panic. Your threat has shattered the fragile peace. The king, Charles IX, is hysterical. He is a weak, unstable young man, haunted by the power of his mother and the charisma of his rivals. He is now trapped. On one side, you and the Protestant nobles are openly threatening a new war. On the other, the Catholic faction, led by the Duke of Guise, is demanding permission to raise their own army to defend the king from you. The city is a powder keg, and you have just lit the fuse. And then there is his mother, Catherine de Medici. She is not panicking. She is calculating. She is the ultimate political survivor. Her entire life's work, keeping her Valois sons on the throne of France, is about to be annihilated. She had planned this wedding, this impossible compromise, to end the wars, not start a new one in the middle of Paris. In her eyes, your threat was a declaration of treason. She sees your leader, Admiral Coligny, as a sorcerer who has bewitched her son and is dragging France into a suicidal war with Spain. She sees you as his armed mob, occupying her capital. She tried compromise. It failed. Now, she will try another way. On the night of August 23rd, a secret, desperate council meeting is held in the Tuileries Palace. The room is dark. The mood is grim. It is Catherine, the king, her favorite son, Henry of Anjou, and a few trusted Catholic advisors from their inner circle. They debate for hours. What do we do? If they arrest the Duke of Guise for the assassination attempt, the entire Catholic population of Paris will riot and a new war begins. If they try to arrest you for your threats, your Protestant armies will rise and the war begins. It is Catherine, supported by her son Anjou, who puts the dark solution on the table. They argue that a civil war is coming no matter what. Your threats have made that inevitable. The only way to win it and to save the throne is to strike first, to cut the head off the snake. This is no longer about religion. It is a matter of state security. It is a preemptive strike. The king, overwhelmed, sweats and trembles. He resists the idea of murdering his guests, who are under his sacred protection, but Catherine is relentless. She argues that it is either their lives or the life of the entire kingdom. Finally, the unstable king breaks. In a fit of paranoid rage, he reportedly leaps to his feet and screams, "Well then, kill them! Kill them all! But leave no one alive to reproach me." With those words, the decision is made. It is not meant to be a citywide massacre. Not yet. It is to be a clean, surgical, political execution. A list is drawn up. Admiral Coligny is at the top. Below his name are the 70 most important Protestant military and political leaders currently in Paris. This list includes you. The Duke of Guise, nursing his personal burning hatred for Coligny, is brought in and given his orders. He is ecstatic. This is not murder. This is state-sanctioned revenge. The logistics are set in motion with chilling efficiency. The Provost of Merchants, a rabid Catholic, is ordered to arm the citizen militia and lock the city gates. The boats on the River Seine are chained together. Escape will be impossible. You, in your lodgings, might notice the strange quiet in the streets, the unusual activity of the guards. But you assume it's for your protection, to keep the Parisian mob at bay. The plan is set for 3 a.m., just before dawn. The signal will be the ringing of the great bell from the church of Saint-Germain-l'Auxerrois, the church closest to the Louvre. You are asleep in your bed. You are a guest of the king. You are under his royal oath of safety. You are completely, fatally unaware that in a few short hours, your death has been ordered by the very man who promised you justice. It begins just before dawn, around 3 in the morning. The great bell of the church of Saint-Germain-l'Auxerrois, the church of the Louvre, begins to ring. This is not a gentle rhythmic call to prayer. It is a frantic, violent, clanging alarm that slices through the pre-dawn silence. This is the signal. The Duke of Guise, who has been waiting for this moment with a cold, personal fury, does not hesitate. He and his men unleash themselves on the house of the wounded Admiral Coligny. They storm the gates, killing his few Swiss guards. The Admiral, awoken from his sickbed, is met by his murderers. He faces them with the calm of an old soldier. One of Guise's men, a German named Bame, stabs him repeatedly with a pike and throws his body from the window into the courtyard. The Duke of Guise, waiting below, reportedly wipes the blood from the dead man's face to confirm his identity, and then kicks the corpse. The head of the snake has been cut off. The surgical strike on you and the other 70 Protestant leaders is now in full motion, but the bell at Saint-Germain-l'Auxerrois does not stop. It is a spark in a barrel of gunpowder. Across Paris, other church bells begin to answer, a discordant, terrifying chorus echoing over the rooftops. This is the moment the plan shatters into 1,000 pieces of pure, unadulterated hatred. The armed citizen militia, mobilized by the city leaders, pour from their homes. They have been told a lie, that the Protestants are staging a coup tonight, and that the king's order is to kill them all to save the city. And then the general populace joins in. The gates of the city are locked. There is no escape. This is no longer politics. It is a frenzy, a purification. Butchers, artisans, beggars, and boatmen, armed with knives, clubs, and tools from their trades, begin to hunt. They use the white crosses pinned to their hats to identify each other in the dark. You are torn from sleep not by the bells, but by the sound of splintering wood and screaming. It's coming from next door, from the street below. You look out your window and see a vision of hell. The streets are alive with torches. Your neighbors, people you may have traded with just days ago, are being dragged from their homes in their nightclothes. The cry is everywhere, "Kill! Kill! Death to the Huguenots!" It is the king's will. This is no longer a political conspiracy. This is a massacre. And you are on the list. This is your survival test. What do you do? Choice. 1. You barricade your room. You and your few retainers barricade the heavy oak door. You draw your sword. You hear them in the hallway, the heavy boots, the laughing, the shouting, a woman's scream, cut short. They reach your door. You hear them testing it. Then, the heavy thud of an axe. The wood groans. A pikehead smashes through a panel. You fire your pistol through the hole. A man cries out. But it doesn't matter. They smash the door off its hinges. You kill the first man, perhaps the second. But there are dozens. You are overwhelmed, butchered on the floor of your rented room, your body stripped and thrown into the street. You are dead. Choice 2. You try to flee to the river. You are a noble. You are faster and a better fighter than the mob. You grab your sword and your pouch of gold, and you run into the street, hoping to make it to the Seine and swim to safety. The cobblestones are slick with blood. The chaos is absolute. You dodge a group of militiamen, but your fine silk shirt and your panicked, noble face mark you. A group of butchers, their arms red to the elbows, corners you in an alley. You try to offer them your gold. They take it, and then they kill you. You are not just killed, you are mutilated, your body thrown into the river with thousands of others. You are dead. Choice 3. You flee to the Louvre Palace. You remember the amnesty. You are a guest of the king. The wedding was in his palace. Your king, Henry of Navarre, is in that palace. It is the only safe place in the city. You run, dodging the mobs, and sprint across the gardens to the main gate of the Louvre. You see other Protestant nobles running for the same gate. You scream for the guards to open up, that you are on the king's guest list. The guards at the gate let you in. You feel a moment of desperate, gasping relief. You are safe. It lasts for 1 second. The gates are shut and locked behind you. You are in the palace courtyard, and the king's own personal guards, the Swiss, are waiting for you, their pikes leveled. This is not a sanctuary. It is an execution yard. The Louvre itself has become a trap. You realize in your final, horrifying moment that the king's men are not just allowing the massacre. They are leading it. Protestant nobles are being hunted through the halls, from the grand staircases to the royal chambers, cut down as they beg for the king's mercy. This is a trick question. Fighting is useless. Fleeing is impossible. There is only one way to survive. As you are cornered in the Louvre, a sword at your throat, you are given a choice. It is the same choice given to your king, Henry of Navarre, who is being held by the king himself. The choice is mass or death. To survive, you must abandon everything you stand for. You must renounce your faith, your friends, and your entire cause. You must fall to your knees and declare yourself a Catholic. This is the only move. If you are too proud, you are killed on the spot. If you hesitate, you are killed. Your only chance of survival is to immediately and convincingly convert. This is how Henry of Navarre survives. He, his wife Margaret, and a few others are protected by converting, held as prisoners at court while their followers are butchered. Narrator: the massacre rages for 3 days in Paris. It does not stop there. It spreads like wildfire to the provinces, where tens of thousands more are killed over the next several weeks. It is the single most brutal atrocity of the 16th century. So, how long would you have survived? If you were a common Protestant, your chances were almost zero. If you were a noble, your survival depended not on your skill with a sword or your loyalty to your friends, but on your ability to abandon your principles in a split second. You survived only if you became a prisoner, a traitor to your own cause, forced to live at the court of the woman who had just ordered the murder of all your friends, Catherine de Medici. You would live on, but as a pawn, waiting years for your chance to escape and start the war all over again.